Welcome to the Housing Agency's video series on the Part 5 legislation. This is the final of our 5 videos on Part 5 of the Planning and Development Acts 2000 to 2021. This video will discuss some aspects of Part 5 agreements, particularly around the number of homes to be acquired and whether they are to be provided as affordable housing or used for the provision of social housing support. How many homes can be acquired under Part 5 for social and affordable housing? The Part 5 legislation states that the local authority and the applicant for planning can agree to the transfer of homes of such number and description as may be specified in the agreement. The exact number of homes to be transferred is not specified in legislation. Justice Clark, in his 2007 judgment, determined that in the case of a dispute, the arbitrator in the dispute must identify a set of housing units for transfer which approximate 20% of the planning gain in the development as a whole, subject only to a balancing payment. Part 5 is all about the transfer of 20% of the land or 20% of the net monetary value, otherwise known as the planning gain, to the local authority. 20% of the homes does not always equal 20% of the land or 20% of the net monetary value, because the homes in each development are often different sizes. A local authority might need to acquire more or less than 20% of the homes to achieve the Part 5 requirement, or it might acquire 20% of the homes but accept a balancing discount on construction costs from the applicant to achieve 20% of the net monetary value. We cover this in more detail in our video on calculating Part 5 for the transfer of homes on site. The key point here is that Part 5 does not simply require the transfer of 20% of the number of homes in a development, as is sometimes assumed. When a local authority is deciding which of the Part 5 options to pursue, and, if acquiring homes on site in a development, how many homes to acquire, there are several considerations set out in legislation. Will the agreement achieve the objectives of the housing strategy? Is it the best use of available resources? Does it represent value for money? The need to counteract undue segregation in housing. For example, is there very little social and affordable housing in an area, or is there very little privately owned housing? Is it in accordance with the development plan? The time frame for the delivery of the housing. Will the Part 5 homes be delivered in the first phase of the development or the last? On the planning side, the local authority must also consider the proper planning and sustainable development of the area, the housing strategy and the specific objectives of the development plan, the need to ensure the overall coherence of the development, and the views of the applicant. Does the applicant have a preferred option to satisfy Part 5? How many Part 5 homes should be used for social housing support versus affordable housing? As outlined in our first video, land for residential development will have a 20% Part 5 requirement unless the transition arrangements apply. On land where the 20% Part 5 requirement applies, at least half of the land or the equivalent net monetary value obtained under Part 5 must be used for social housing support. As mentioned previously, the number of homes can vary depending on how the net monetary value is applied. The remainder can be used for affordable purchase housing, cost rental housing, or for more social housing, or as an additional discount. The decision as to how to use the remaining net monetary value is made by each local authority on a site-by-site basis in accordance with their housing strategy and development plan. On land to which the transition arrangements apply and therefore have a 10% Part 5 requirement, all of the land or the equivalent net monetary value obtained under Part 5 must be used for the provision of social housing support. Can the local authority buy fewer than 20% of the homes? The decision on how many homes to acquire under Part 5 is agreed between the local authority and the applicant. If the local authority agrees to acquire fewer homes in the development, then an additional balancing discount can be applied to reduce the cost per home to the local authority. When deciding whether to provide affordable purchase housing under Part 5, the local authority will examine the cost of the housing and compare it to the local housing market. If the costs are too high to be attractive to eligible purchasers, the local authority may decide to acquire fewer houses at a greater discount. It must balance the need for affordable housing with the price it needs to sell these homes for. With cost rental, a lower purchase price results in a lower monthly rent for the cost rental tenants. The local authority may opt to acquire fewer homes at a greater discount to reduce the rents payable. Does Part 5 restrict the percentage of the development that can be used for social and affordable housing? One misconception is that Part 5 limits the local authority to acquiring a maximum of 20% of a development for social housing support. Section 94(4)(d) is very clear that this is not the case. More than 20% of the land or the equivalent of the land can be acquired by the local authority and used for social housing support, affordable purchase housing or cost rental. The additional land or housing is acquired at open market rates and not the rates applied to the Part 5 land or housing. Can all local authorities provide affordable housing using Part 5? In theory, all local authorities can provide affordable housing under Part 5 as long as the development in question has a 20% Part 5 requirement and is not subject to the transition arrangements. In practice, the reduction in cost from the market value achieved through the Part 5 discount is what sets the affordable price. The Affordable Housing Fund has additional conditions which must be met, which are not relevant when considering a Part 5 only discount. The Part 5 discount is achieved in two ways. Firstly, by purchasing the land at existing use value rather than at market value. And secondly, the sale price of the homes is calculated on a cost basis as opposed to the market value. Taken together, both discounts will generally result in a sale price which is below market value. However, if local market values are lower than the cost of construction, the Part 5 price may be at or even above market value, in which case it would not be suitable for use as affordable housing. The challenge for the local authority will be to determine if the discount achieved through Part 5 will deliver housing at prices that affordable purchasers in the area would be willing to pay, or deliver cost rental housing with rents that are sufficiently below market rents in the area. One option, as discussed earlier in this video, may be to acquire fewer homes to increase the level of discount that can be applied. We hope you found this video useful. Other videos within this Part 5 series can also be found on the Housing Agency's YouTube channel. If you have any queries on this or any of the other videos in the series, please contact us through the link in the video description.